In this video, I'm going to tell you my absolutely positively real fake story about my haunted experience in NUS Law. You have been warned. Yo, what is up guys? Previously, I mentioned two instances where I studied alone in the seminar room and heard some strange noises on my earphones. Despite telling my friends about it, they decided to hold our exam study session at the same seminar room because they already booked it. Not the best logic there, but hey, I didn't want to be a little believer of ghosts. Yes, believer of ghosts. It's time for yet another.
For legal reasons, the following video is fictitious. All key elements have been greatly exaggerated for the purposes of clickbaiting audiences. If any elements of this story so happens to be true, which is absolutely preposterous because this is a fictitious story, the author asserts that any resemblances to any person or entity, living or dead or undead, is coincidental and not exaggerated.
So the next day after lecture, the four of us, A, B, C and D, met outside the lecture theatre together with my friends. That I made during orientation camp. Some of us were discussing the lecture, others were assigning tutorial questions and distributing the workload among themselves, and readings. I was unusually quiet today, and for good reason. I wasn't exactly looking forward to going back to that seminar room. I looked out of the window and sure enough, it's beginning to rain. The skies were sinisterly dark today, and you can see flashes of lightning in the distance. Sunset was rapidly approaching, and that just made it even darker. The rest of my orientation good friends hopped into their cars and drove away. The four of us, A, B, C, D, went to the summit to eat dinner. As I mentioned in another video, the summit food is quite bad, but all throughout dinner, I could hardly focus on my food. Instead, I was thinking about what could go wrong later. At last, everyone finished their food and returned their plates. The storm had not gotten any better. Instead, it was worse. You could literally hear howling winds the second the summit doors were open. Back then, summit was air-conditioned. It was time to head upstairs. As the lift door closed, I saw the cleaner for level 5 walking out of the door and into the rain. I didn't think too much of it then. All throughout the study meeting, we were focused on discussing exam questions and past year papers. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 3 hours. By now, it was exactly 10:25 PM. As planned, we decided to go for a little break. C and I headed to the vending machine located at the other side of the floor to fill my water bottle. A, on the other hand, went to make a phone call at a staircase next to the lift. B went to the staircase just beside the seminar room to smoke. Before we left though, I distinctly remember A put a dustbin between the door and the door frame, because the doors are secured with a magnetic lock that automatically activates at around 10:30 PM, so we put something there to block the door from closing. That was also why we took a break at 10:25 PM, one last break before doors lock for good. As I was walking back from the water cooler, I heard a loud ringing sound coming from the other end of the hallway. I looked at my watch. It read 10:30 PM exactly. The door must have armed itself, and when the door was left ajar, the alarm would ring. No matter, I was going to reach there in a couple more steps. However, the alarm suddenly stopped. I thought that one of my friends just entered the room, removed the dustbin, and closed the door. When I rounded the corner though, something disturbing caught my eye. The lights in the room were off. Why would my friend enter the room and turn off the light? Strange. As I got closer, B emerged from the smoking staircase. He looked at me with surprise. I heard the alarm stop ringing. I thought you went back inside, he said. I said no, obviously I'm still outside with you. C asked if A was inside. I was scared. Trembling, I gingerly brought my face to the glass window of the seminar room. I peered through into the darkness to look for A, and I saw a quick shadowy movement inside near A's seat. Okay, that means that A was inside, or so I thought. But at that moment, B emerged from behind and said that A was still on the phone call outside. That means that there was no way A was inside, and that the four of us are now locked outside of the seminar room. What should we do? Someone asked. I told one of us to use their phones to call the school hotline and help unlock the door. So, C googled the number, made the call and put it on loudspeaker. The phone rang for a while and then it stopped. C was like, "Hello sir, it's me C. We were studying together in the seminar room and the door locked behind us. Is there any way we can re-enter?" There was silence over the phone. C was about to repeat his request when we heard a cackling over the phone. I literally froze in my spot. That was the same sound I previously heard while I was studying. All of a sudden, the line went dead. To cut the story short, we decided to head down to the security office in person to get the door unlocked by the guard. The guard came up and did just that, and we thanked him for it. But where was the dustbin? The one that my friend put in between the door. I decided to look for it. After looking through the entire seminar room, I finally found it. For reasons that I can't explain to this day, the dustbin was right at the back of the seminar room, in the last row and tucked under the table. You know what irritated me most? My friends were like, "Yeah, probably some cleaner put the dustbin there, nothing suspicious about that." But I knew for a fact that the cleaner for that floor knocked off work early that day. I saw him leaving to avoid the rain. My friends said I probably saw wrongly, given how the lift doors closed so quickly. This incident left more questions than answers. First, as the four of us were spread out throughout the floor, at each possible entrance to the 5th floor, how could anyone have gotten into the room without either of us seeing? Why did the alarm suddenly stop ringing as I walked back to the room? I mean, if the alarm were to stop ringing, that means the door was closed, and that means that I should have saw whoever shifted that dustbin, but yet there was no one. Who shifted the dustbin to the back row under the desk? What was the shadowy figure that I saw in the seminar room? Where did he, or worse, it, go? What was that sound that we heard over the telephone? I was no closer to cracking the case. So, as the learned lawyer I am, I decided to investigate further. After the exam was over, of course. What I found next kinda shocked me.